start the recording. Okay.
Got it.
All right. Once again, thank you, ladies, for joining us. And do you think we should take a moment to introduce each other, or should we just let Hoai Anh start her
As
story?
usual, I am invisible.
Oh, okay. Okay. As
Attendee.
per our invisible founder, I am in charge. So,
Because even I'm in bed.
how about we hear Hoyan's story first, and then we would do, once we get to the chat, we can start with the introductions of each other. That way, at least we can ensure that Hoyan's story get listened to first. All right? Okay, the floor is
It
yours. You have the virtual microphone. Go for it.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, for those who don't know me, my name is Hoai Anh. And yeah, so for maybe you can know me from the mentoring program that we started for Vietnam. But anyways, here is my story. So when Tina said, "Hey, do you want to be a living book?" I was like, so how should my title be and how should the chapter's name be? And actually, the title is Life by Design. So when I first thought about it, I thought it sounded like something for architects or vision boards or something. Um, but yeah, but for me, it's more like a way of asking. So um, what is life by design? What is good enough? What if good enough isn't enough? You know, maybe you had these questions in your life as well. Um, and yeah, I think because most of us are also visual types, I brought some pictures because a book can also be, included with pictures, and maybe it's a bit more entertaining. So I'm going to share my screen. Mm, That's the right one. Um, okay, you should see my screen now. And yeah, I mean, a few years ago, I was in a job I liked and a life that looked good from the outside. And to understand where I was at this time, because this chapter is the good enough life, I need to start a bit earlier. And for that, you will see a little picture on the next slide. So I was born and raised in Germany, some of you know, and my parents came to East Germany in the late 80s as migrant workers. And like many Vietnamese people, they dreamt of a better future. I mean, there's still many people going abroad, right? Working, hoping for a better future. And life back then wasn't easy or safe because, yeah, my parents, they didn't know if they would stay in Germany, if they could stay. So they started small businesses. They sold clothes. They sold flowers. They sold food. They had this food, how to say, food truck, and they made money. They lost money. So I watched them work like 24/7, always hustling, always trying. And I grew up with this belief that stability and hard work were the ultimate goals. So this little bee, um, growing up in this in different towns. So we moved a lot when I was a child because my parents always looked for better opportunities, right? And I was always like one of the few Vietnamese kids. My teacher used to call me another girl's name, Lee. I can remember this moment because I thought like there were only the two of us in the whole school, and this teacher mistakenly called me Lee. Why? So I mean, I don't see myself as a victim, but it made me question again. So where do I belong? Would I ever fully be German? Would I fully feel Vietnamese? Or is there something in between? And time went by, and I moved to Berlin to study psychology, became product manager, switched to change management and coaching, led my own team, So I had everything I thought I should want, like a good job, a nice apartment, great friends, went to museum, went to, in your 20s, you go to parties, you do a lot of things. I had a loving partner, and my parents were proud that I worked for an energy supply because it was safe, secure, right? I had a future, and still I felt like something was missing. Have you ever felt that? Like you're living the life you were supposed to live, but something is calling?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello.
Good to see you. So yeah, I was in a situation, right? Something was missing. And I mean, I have to say, I've always appreciated small things like finding a lost sock, long evening walks, deep conversations. But dreaming, I never knew how to dream. That was totally new to me. And my parents never had the luxury to dream. So their goal was survival, and nobody taught me how to dream. And then life forced me to stop. It was the peak of COVID. Maybe you remember this time, like back then, our memories. And my partner back then became seriously ill, and suddenly everything that seemed stable didn't feel stable anymore. So at one point, he asked me, would you come with me to Thailand? And that question was odd at this time, but actually it was the beginning, because this urge for something different in me was growing. And I felt like, okay, I played safe like the last 20 something years. And of course, I didn't just pack and go the next day. It took me 1.5 years to go through coachings, to overcome fears, to overcome beliefs, or to change my beliefs as well, to save money, to calculate my living costs, to plan. So it took me 1.5 years to really prepare for that. And then I left. Finally, I can show like some pictures here from traveling. But yeah, then I left for 6 months across Southeast Asia. And I thought I would feel free, I would feel happy, I would feel light. But instead, I know that sounds like first world problems. I felt super lost. I wasn't working, I wasn't like producing anything, or I wasn't adding value. So these were the reasons why I felt very lost. And what helped me actually was slowing down. So I went to a 10-day Vipassana retreat, sat in silence, sat with my thoughts first, and started reconnecting with myself and seeing the value of just being myself, that being myself is good enough. And that's when I also realized I had to design my own life. No one was coming to do that for me. And at one point, I made this decision that I wanted to live like 8 to 9 months in Vietnam or in Thailand, and 3 to 4 months in Germany, because I still have my family and my friends there. And people kept asking me, like, but how will you earn money? How will you manage to live between two worlds? How is that possible? And I thought, I mean, if my parents, my mom, 17 and a half, could come to Germany and build a life in a completely foreign country with no safety net, I can do it too. And I still have a safety net, right? And I was surrounded by people that had different lifestyles back then, like online business owners, expats, people who thought they should live a different life and also take responsibilities for their lives. So moving forward, today I have my own business and I work with international clients on self-management, leadership, team development, also like intercultural skills. And I coach and train people to help them grow and build better teams, also healthier corporate cultures. And it's really what I like. I feel very good in doing that, also between the two worlds, because as you remember, people kept asking me that. And the last 2 years, I've spent my summers in Germany and the rest of the year in Thailand and Vietnam. And actually, I spend more quality time with my family now than before. Like before, I've seen them just maybe once a month or every 2 months. And yeah, that's actually the good news because changing my life from is that good enough to okay, let's design it myself. But what's the flip side? I mean, there's not always just happy ending, right? There are also some costs. My relationship didn't last, but actually, I have to say that the journey that made the journey even more interesting. I don't know if that is the right word, but I had to ask myself, do I still want this life even on my own? Do I still want to stay here? And the answer was yes. And I think this was the point where the commitment was even stronger. And now I also feel that my life is more aligned with my values. And I've learned that I can be both Vietnamese and German and take the best of both worlds. So I can connect deeply with locals, but also with expats. So whatever I need, you know, something from these worlds. And I've also learned that home isn't a place, it's more like a feeling of being grounded, of being understood, of being connected to people. And of course, I think this is also not the end of the journey, right? Um, I'm still learning to align my goals and values again and again. Yeah, lately I've just realized that questions that guide me through that are, for example, like who am I? Where am I right now in my life? Where do I want to go? Who do I bring value to? And I've also learned to set bolder goals and to follow through. For example, I wanted to speak at the conference this year. And guess what? It already happened in March. So this was the point when I realized I need to dream even bigger. And designing your life doesn't mean everything will be easy. So as you can see from the story, it's a lot of up and downs, like a roller coaster, but the roller coaster maybe goes into this direction, like higher. And designing your life is also being brave and deal with a lot of insecurities. And apart from these up and downs, it feels real for me. So that's what life by design means. And yeah, I think it's a process. And hopefully, of course, in the future, when I look back on my 80s or 90s birthday, I will see that it was worth it to go through up and downs and also insecurities and to dream. Yeah, that's the chapter. Thank you for reading and listening to my chapter.
Thank you, Hoai Anh, for sharing. And so, you know, I hear your story, and I can relate so well of what you said. And the difference, though, you were able to do what you did at an early age. Me, I didn't hit that point until my mid 40s. Like I was in, I was managing money for 20 years. It was lots of money that I managed. I have a home team, and I was making good money, and I had everything. Yet somewhere, just like yourself, something didn't feel good anymore. And and because of that, I felt pressured. I feel stressed all the time. And to be honest, at that point, there was no good reason why I felt the way I felt. And just like yourself, we had to search within. And when I found the reason, it clicked, because it was like, oh, that was the universe sign to tell me it's time to change. Let's move on.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
like like you were at a different, due to your age, you were at a different stage, right? Meanwhile, me, I was established in a well-paid job,
That's
and
the point.
yeah, and it was so much harder to,
Yeah.
because the fees was greater to leave
Yeah.
all the
You had your
debt.
life,
So
right?
yeah, so
You had
that
your
I
life, you
had,
had this
right? So
your
that's why.
apartment, house to pay,
Mhm. Yeah,
family. Yeah.
yeah, like that. No, for me, at that point, after working for 20 years, I was no longer in any debts. Like I made
Mm.
sure that all our debts was paid, that our children education fund was
Mhm.
well established and everything already. So it was not financial worries.
Mm.
It was more about changes, right?
Oh, I
About
see.
the unknown, that I'm like, what the heck am I doing? If I'm not doing this, what am I going to do? Because I was only in my mid 40s. Sure, I have
Yeah.
enough money if I wanted to retire, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that would be ridiculous to retire at mid 40. And so it was the search, the search from within, that was like, as you
Mm.
say, by design. It's basically by choice, fearlessly
Mhm.
overcoming the
Yeah.
fear, the worries,
And also to
the
be like more responsible to, oh, like my connection is a bit, but it's
Mhm,
also about like taking responsibilities, right? Like
mhm,
not just living the life you're supposed to live, but also making decisions, as we said, and also live
mhm.
with the consequences.
Yeah. So, for our audience, um, I invite you to, before you ask your question or share whatever you want to share or comment, introduce yourself, all right? Because I would love to know where you are, where you come from, and so on, and who you are, just briefly, and let's connect. Like, for those of you who haven't heard my introduction, I am the owner of this software today, and Hoan is our living book, right? And Jimmy is the founder of Việt Kiều Nữ, if you haven't get a chance to see her, and Bảo Ngọc is her assistant. And oh, the next person I want to introduce is Phương, our next living book for next month.
A teaser. Good
Yeah,
teaser.
oh, just like Hoai Anh, she has a great story to tell. I would love for you to show up and hear her story. Anyhow, so the floor is open. Go ahead and make comments and introduce yourself and ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I should start.
Mm.
Hello. Thank
Hello.
you for the introduction again, also because I was a little bit late. I am actually here because of Hoai Anh. So I met her in Da Nang, Vietnam, and I am part, I think, of her journey, and she is also a really, really big part of my journey.
Mhm,
So it's really beautiful also to see her recounted here for other people and other women to hear. Um, yes, so I think that Hoai Anh is actually someone who really inspired me to do my own thing. I was born and raised in Austria by Vietnamese parents from Hải Phòng, and I worked in corporate marketing for 10 years, and also always felt like, there's something that's missing. I don't really know what it is, but yeah, finally, I kind of also made the step to go to Asia, and yeah, really discovered whatever was important to me. And now today I'm self-employed, almost a year. Started being self-employed beginning of this year. And as I said, like I spoke with Hoai Anh a lot of times about admin stuff, about legal and tax things, but then also about how do we get our motivation and really believe in ourselves to go the path that doesn't feel just right in the terms of society and traditional values of maybe our parents and so on, or expectations that somebody else has, but also what feels right to us, even though maybe it's not common yet. So yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. So great to see
So,
you.
Tanya, you are
Great to
in
see you.
Vietnam right now too?
No, I'm in Berlin.
Oh, you're in Berlin. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so
Soon,
we
right?
met in Vietnam, but then also because Hoai Anh's family lives in Berlin. I live in Berlin now. I moved here a year ago. It's also where we met again and reconnected and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good to have somebody. I mean, that's also a thing, right? To if you're at one point to have people around you that maybe share the same ideas or also understand your dreams, and just have somebody to talk to who doesn't judge you for, going a different way.
Yeah.
My question to the audience is, have you considered changing your career, changing what you're doing? Inside you, do you feel a nagging, a pulling? Do you feel unsettled in your current career or in your life right now? Are you in a stage where you are trying to make a decision? Like, share with us. Who knows? We may be able to, because it's a discussion, right? So we may be able to, I don't know, make comment that would help to clarify.
Maybe. Oh, sorry. Can I go on?
Mhm.
Oh, thank you. So, hello everyone. This is my first time participating. My name is Tao or Tao, and I'm actually based in Berlin, so I'm very happy to hear that our main speaker and another fellow is here too. Very excited to see, and maybe a bit about my background. I'm currently in consulting, which is, you might know, is something that you really can't do for the rest of your life. And I've been thinking about becoming self-employed at one point in life. So maybe a question to the audience: what was your biggest challenge when you decided to become self-employed?
I can start with that if you want to, so the audience can think about it a bit more. It's good to see you, like Berliners here. I didn't know that. Well, my biggest, what was the biggest? Yeah, I would say my money mindset, because I had this, safe, secure life, and I could continue this path. Would be also all right, to go into like management, senior management, whatever. But yeah, I think this was my belief I had to work on, like that I don't need like to be employed to work for a company to earn money, So because I've obviously my parents like working so much, so before that I was kind of afraid of being self-employed because I saw their lives, right? I saw like how they worked all day long. So mostly like during this time I did a lot of coachings actually. Mostly the coaching was about this fear of not having enough. Yeah. And what helped me is was to calculate my cost, like how much do you really need, right? And how much do you already have? So like talking numbers, that actually helped a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tanya, you want to share because you mentioned that you are likely the beside Hoyan is the person who most recently changed career by choice, by design.
Yeah, definitely. I can continue. So for me, I mean, as Hoai Anh mentioned, safety and security was definitely, let's say, a quality about being employed that I really appreciated. And not to be employed with a company I'm having to take care of all of these things, like how do you say, uh health insurance, paying tax by yourself, how to register a company, all of these things. I'm quite creative person, but not all. So that really overwhelmed me, and I just feel like you don't really get that much support from society or from the government to to become self-employed. So you kind of have to do a lot of research by yourself, find other people to talk to. And if you don't have that because you're just in the company working every day, right? 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday, then it feels like, oh, okay, yeah, in my free time, I don't have the energy, I don't have the time anymore. And what really helped me was to think about, but what is important to me? Because my friends and people that I know were also like, oh, but if you become self-employed, what if the contract ends? What if, so many different things? Don't you need security? And then I was like, honestly, do I need the same level of security that you do? Or is that just something that I never really thought about? And for me, honestly, it's fine to not know. And also, if you're in employment, anything can happen as well. So for me, it was really important to compare what is it that I want to do? How should working every day make me feel? Like when you go to bed on a Sunday night, thinking about a Monday, should it be super overwhelming where you're like, oh my God, I don't even want to get up tomorrow? Or is it like, I'm so excited to do this for client A and do this for client B, maybe go to yoga for lunch? So these were the things that really made me feel very, very motivated about changing my, let's say, employment status to really managing it on my own.
Yeah. So like in summary, basically, one of what both Hoai and Tanya share is it's come down to addressing your fears. That's the true reason behind all of those reasons. Okay. It's fear in different aspects, fear of not be financially safe, fears of not being able to answer people's questions to say, what do you do for a living? Right? Because that we tend to want to answer, oh, I'm an accountant, I'm an engineer, I am a marketer, I'm whatever, right? But people tend to resist saying, I'm a self-employed person doing, whatever doing. Like, to be honest, at the very beginning of my healer career, I had a struggle to share that as well, to answer that question, what do you do? And it took me a while to come to the answer, I'm a healer, I am self-employed, and be proud at answering that question just the way it is. Right? And then the other fears are the fears of safety, like financially, am I safe to do this? How long can, like, usually people don't have a clear idea, right? You start thinking and you just don't have the means to just jump boat. Like, honestly, I did though. I was not prepared, but I did. I literally went into my work on like Thursday night. I thought about quitting. Friday morning, I walked in. I wrote my resignation letter. I handed in. Spent the day cleaning out my desk. And Friday night, I walked out of there and never looked back. So don't do what I do, okay? I left a lot of money on the table because I didn't take the time to negotiate. Because if I did negotiate, I would have walked away with a chunk of money. But I did. Anyhow, the biggest thing I think in this instance is the lack of clarity. Just like what Hoai Anh did, you need to settle down, hear yourself, hear your thoughts, hear your feelings. What are they telling you? And in Vigano, there are lots of people who can help you for free, right? Because we have a whole work of coach in here. They would be more than, if I'm not mistaken, they would be more than willing to guide you. And that's part of the mentorship program as well. We guide you for free, with, for like a tiny bit of fee, not completely free, but that money, that's literally nothing in exchange for what you are going to get out of it. And the biggest thing people likely will walk away with is a clarity plan. Like it sounds so little, but it's so huge when you have clarity in what you do, because that builds your confidence. It builds your belief in yourself to be settled in your choice, your design, right? Because from the moment you have clarity, you would step forward knowing what you are doing and holding your head high, with or without money, with or without security of job and money and whatever else. That's like the bottom line of all of this.
Yeah, super interesting. Like lately, I've been talking to a close friend who also thinks about like quitting. I mean, she quit now, but back then, and we talked about like her, her passion projects and also her work, and also like I asked her, okay, so how many hours a week do you spend on your work? How many hours do you spend on your passion project on Instagram? How many hours do you spend on this and that? And then she saw this number she spent on working for this company where she wasn't happy anymore. She was like, what could I do with 40 hours more in a week? And this was like somehow her switch. I don't know, like everyone has their own, right? But her switch was this number. Yeah.
I also agree. I think that if you think about it, spending time doing something all week that you're not happy in or you don't feel fulfilled in, of course, for me, it took a long time. I could have realized sooner, definitely. But I mean, everybody just have their their own timeline, and you need to reach this a certain point. It could be a trigger, as Hoai Anh said. Also, could be numbers, could be this or that. But at some point, you'll reach this realization. Okay, what I do know is that however I'm doing it right now, I don't want it. And I think then everything goes really fast. And also when you said you went into the office and you just quit, and maybe there's a lot of money that was on the table you could have taken, but in the end you had this clarity and you had this feeling of, okay, I need to do this now, and I don't care about the money, and yeah, money comes and goes anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like one thing you have to remember, money is a resource that you can earn again and again and again, no matter what's your situation. You are where you are, that means that you have the ability to earn money again. Time, though, is a different matter. Time goes by, there's no way of getting it back. So, me changing career midlife, because I was in my mid 40s, it's a different challenge. I no longer have, I was well established. I was no longer have the time, quote unquote, to explore as much as a younger person. Right? And it's honestly, in hindsight, it's better to start the change in the earlier days than in a later life, because regret not doing what was nagging you, when you look back, once you have children, you have a family to take care of, and so on, that's way harder. And the regret is a feeling I wouldn't want anybody to live with, because it's such a heavy feeling, right? So even though it's hard, because changing career, working by yourself is not an easy thing, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. Yes, it's difficult, but I'm pretty darn sure that in your life you have faced other difficult situation. This is just yet another difficult situation, right? And it's better to face it head on than to keep avoiding it, and then eventually you will get to that same point down the road, and with regret. That's the thing. Regret is such a hard feeling
Yeah.
to deal
Regret
with.
is not like, nah, it's not
Mm-hmm.
a good feeling. And also it doesn't need to be like self-employment, right? Like one of my former colleagues, she was also a product manager at this time, and at one point she couldn't take it anymore, like the work there and the company. So she decided to become to work in a kindergarten, like because she felt more like felt that there was bigger purpose to that, and that she could affect more people, or maybe earlier in their lives. And this is where she's happy now. So the career changes can also go to completely direct, like another direction.
Yeah, as a human, one of the biggest thing for us is not, although we kept saying, oh, we keep fearing about not having enough money, but the biggest need that humans have is actually connection, feeling appreciate, feeling somebody out there cares, right? Working with young children, one of the biggest thing is that they get attached to you, and they love to see you, and that feeling, it cannot be replaced by money, not in a million years, right? And so it's the same thing with choosing a career. As humans, we want to recognize the fact that the work that we provide, the service that we provide, is being appreciated, help somebody move forward. Like I used to manage a whole whack of money, and even though part of me knows that I'm helping people save, it didn't feel good in the end because I actually don't connect with those people directly. And the lack of connection eventually gets to me because I don't see the how the result of my work benefit people, even though my logical side knows it's benefiting people, but because visually I don't see it, I don't hear them thanking me. In the end, it's just like, oh, this lack of purpose, like that was just a way of thinking. It was not true, but as humans, that's our blind spots, and we all have it. That's the thing with being humans. We all have blind spots, and only another person can help us see those blind spots. Right? That's a good reason why they're called blind spots. It's because we cannot see it for ourselves. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I love what you're sharing, everyone. So my name is May. So May Holland here, another coach on this call as well. What I really wanted just to share, just to inspire you, just to see how possible change is. I was talking when I was living in Australia years ago. I was talking to a very unhappy corporate lawyer. And when we're talking about making heaps of money, she made a lot of money. And exactly what Wang An was saying about the numbers. And she said, and I asked her, so, do you know how many hours you work a week and a year and all your lifetime? And she has absolutely no clue. And I say a normal person is about 100,000 hours that you're working. But when you're a lawyer, you work on a weekend as well. So you don't even count those 100,000 of hours, so which is more than that. And then she said, really? But I'm not, I'm making partners rich, not my family. And I'm really sacrificing my lifetime, my quality time with my family. And then I asked, and it was just a chat, outside of a board meeting. And I said, what do you really want? I want to be happy. And then she said, and then I asked, what would make you happy? I want to be a florist. And you know what she did? Maybe 2 weeks, I can't remember, okay, because it was the school holidays in New South Wales. 2 weeks later, she flew to New York City. She did a course over, I don't know how many days, to be a florist, like literally, fly to New York from Sydney to do a course in how to arrange flowers, not ikebana, but I don't know, whatever. And then she came back a month later. She said, oh, actually, I took my holiday. The company was very surprised, and she quit her job, and she's a florist now, and she's very happy. So, everything that we're saying here about, having the courage of letting go, having the courage of seeing, what really what it is really for you if you don't make that choice. And I think those numbers of 100 hours, but you is probably more. And then that was shocking her. And I said, what? I don't even see my children, no. And it was really the trigger for her to say, I'm going to be a florist. So she doesn't make, the corporate money, as a lawyer, but she's much more happy. She can pick up her kids at school, and she does a job. And for people who might not know, florist is the job, the happiest job in the world, because you make people happy. So not that I'm saying that you need to consider to be a florist and apply to New York, but it's just for you just to think that courage of making the choice is something that, sometimes when you hesitate, and then, and you hear other people doing it, then it changes your life. Like, the quality life that, you might have even more. So,
Like another
make the
way
most of
to
your
think,
life. You have only one
the
life.
thing, yeah, another way to think is that basically that money that she used to earn is the price she paid for being
Yeah.
unhappy, for not being able to see her kids and so on. And the price that she earns as a florist, much lower, is the price that she paid to feel happy, to be able to see her kids. So at some point in life, every single one of us have got to be able to see the traits that we are willing to make. And to be honest, a mirror of that florist slash lawyer life, I am in the same situation. I earn way lower now compared to when I was managing money for other people. However, my happiness skyrocket. I am happy with my family life. I am able to quote unquote service. I call it service my children. And I know I no longer hear them say, "Oh, you're late again," because that's one sentence that nagged me for the longest time when I was working in the corporate world, managing money for other people. It's like because I always have so much work, right? And when I come to get them from wherever they are, whether it's school or activity after school and so on, one of the sentence or sometimes just the look on their face. Sometimes they don't say it anymore, and it was like, "Oh, you're late again." I just did not want to hear that or see that look anymore, and that was one of the reasons behind why I left the corporate world. It to me, it totally worth the trades to see that now my kids are happy whenever they ask to be driven somewhere. All I have to mention is okay, what time, where, and then it's done, right? So that's the difference. Like it's little things like that in life. But mind you, it's because my children still need me at this point in time. If you don't have children, you don't have to think about it. Or if your children are all grown up and have their own lives, then no. But still, that's just an example. There may be other people, like for example, your parents. What if they need your help? Anyone else want to share or ask questions or make comment about Hoyan's story?
Hi
Hey, I
everyone.
have a question.
Hi.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Hoai Anh, and this is not my first time here. And maybe some of you know that I'm a student. I'm born and raised in Hanoi, and I'm currently in Germany. And as I heard everyone's story here, I understand that you guys start with the corporate jobs, and then at some point you want to go out and being a self-employed. But which advice would you guys give to someone who just graduate or starting out? Should we also join the corporate work, or is there any alternative way that we can join the jobs market nowadays?
Hoai Anh and Tanya, you guys want to go because you, in age-wise, you would be closer to Hans.
What did you study, or what are you studying?
I'm currently studying journalism and social media and media communication.
I mean, I have to say that my aspiration of wanting to become self-employed actually only came in time. So I didn't really think about that when I was in uni. And in my first corporate years, it's also where I built my resume. You know, I I got all the experience and the qualification that I have now. So that's only the path that I know. I did, however, meet someone. So I'm in marketing, and I met a 25-year-old founder of a marketing agency who told me that he has never worked in a company before. He always did his own thing. And he has a completely different path. So I think that it's two completely different ways. What for me helped a lot is to start out in a company so I can learn, right? How does a company function? How does a department function? What do you do for marketing? But I do feel like the resources that I had when I was studying are a little bit different than yours as well. So there's a lot of access to how things work. I don't know. You can always ask ChatGPT and so on. And also this network, you can always speak to so many women have gone different paths. So I think it's just really important for you to figure out how you enjoy working, right? Do you want to be independent, do your thing? Do you like working at home? Because these are the things that I figured out after being at the office from 9 to 5 and from Monday to Friday. But there's other people, my friends, for example, who tell me I couldn't just work in cafes and in the kitchen and at beach bars or whatever like you do. So yeah.
Yeah. I think, I mean, sometimes it's good to have somebody, like, especially at the beginning of your business life, right? That can be like a mentor, but you will also be able to find a mentor, you know, in this group, for example, or in other groups. And actually, for me, it helped to work in a company to also understand like how how these structures are. Now it helps me to consult other business owners that have never worked in a company, so they don't know how to grow their own company. And if I talk to them, I feel like, okay, you don't even know like departments, teams, like how is it all connected? So this sometimes is helpful, but I think you don't need to get this experience through a company. So you can still, if you start your own thing, you will also figure it out somehow. And as Tanya said, there's knowledge everywhere. You just need to find it. And also, I think nowadays it's even more important to practice, to just, not just, but to do it and also like collect your experiences through your actions.
And I think that it's important to know that nothing's permanent, right? So if you try to become self-employed right away or to start freelancing and do work on a contract basis, and then you feel like this is not the type you want, you can stop. If you want to work for an agency, if you want to go work for a company, for a news outlet, whatever, and then you feel like you don't like it there, you can go do something else. So I think that's really important to remember, because if I think back, a lot of times I had the feeling like, okay, so I already started here. I need to stay at least 1 year to make it count, to build the credibility or something. You can decide to start and stop whenever you want.
Yeah, exactly. Like, especially right now when you, for example, when you're like into AI or something. If you start today, in 3 years, you might be an expert compared to other people, right? So I think now these skills, especially these digital skills, are even easier to become an expert in if you start now. And there's no bad decision. Like if you make a decision, just live with the consequences, but you can also change what comes after that.
Thank you for the advice.
But if Maya now, feedback is great. Before you quit any place, because this is where you learn. When you go in a company, you like it, you don't like it, but learn from the feedback, learn from what they're doing, learn through how they negotiate relationship, learn with how they deal with clients. Because when you're on your own, you don't get it. You don't have that kind of feedback. And if it's your client, if you mess it up, you lose your deal. So learn through the company, so then you don't make the mess for your own contract, because they won't miss you. So make the most of it. Take it as a learning experience on whatever. I understand this AI, this ChatGPT, all the answers are there, but the knowledge is still very theory. So what you need is to really get the feeling in it. So then you really get the message. When people give you an answer, there's some hidden message behind. And that is something that AI doesn't get. So you really need to be dealing with real people to understand the mess, to understand the possibilities. And even if people say that, go for it, and then, in a company, yeah, it's fine. But then you need to understand, do they really mean that? Or are they putting you in a situation to make it difficult for you? So over strict, you learn through dealing with real people. So AI is great, but AI doesn't teach you that. Yeah.
Thank
Sorry,
you,
this is
Dimi.
my gray hair talking here.
No, it's good. There's two people who haven't spoken, and I would love to hear from them. Thu Hà and Milan. Right? Dimi, I think Milan is connected to you, isn't she?
Yeah, that's my mom.
A little bit connected.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed listening to your story, Diane. It was very inspiring, and I related to a lot of what you said. As I feel like at the moment I'm in a time of my life where I'm in the process of starting a new chapter. I had a period where I was a bit stuck. I had some health issues, and it definitely felt like a sign from the universe to kind of slow down and reevaluate, like, what kind of direction I want to be, and the kind of path that I'd like to be on in my career and in my life. And yeah, so no, it was really lovely hearing about everyone sharing. And yeah, I do feel a lot more. I took some notes, so yeah, I'll be reading them again later, and yeah, just dissecting a little bit. But yeah, so no, for me, I studied international business, so and here in Vietnam, and for a while I was kind of stuck in the idea of, oh, I've studied business, therefore this is my path, this is the career. Like I'm going to be working in corporate, and I'm good at it, therefore I must pursue this and make money, and follow all these set paths and quote unquote goals that I imposed upon myself. But in the end, I made the discovery that it's not really for me. It's not really the right fit. So yeah, at the moment I'm looking at doing my master's degree and a completely different sector. So I want to do something in like archaeology or anthropology, or something more like humanities based. And yeah, just the idea that having that idea and just saying that out loud feels it took me a while to feel comfortable with that because I've had like, I don't know, like a little bit of shame with like, oh, like I've done business, and to kind of like veer off and do something completely different. And, I feel like I'm kind of wasting my degree was a bit like, I really kind of put these limitations on myself. But no, just having that feels, just feeling comfortable, like even saying that out loud feels like a big relief. And I do feel like that's something I'm very passionate about, and that will bring me happiness. And, even if it doesn't bring me the kind of money that staying in the corporate world would have, I'm 27, so I suppose I still have time to figure out like if it fits with me or if I want to go somewhere else. But yeah, for the longest time, I had been kind of stuck in this little like, oh, you must pursue this path because this is the degree that you have. But yeah, so I don't know. Just today, just hearing everyone sharing, I feel like it feels a lot more tangible now. And yeah, yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Mila. Thank you for sharing. And Tuha, I would love to hear from you.
Hi everyone, my name's Tuha and I'm also German Vietnamese. Born and raised in Munich, but I also used to live in Berlin for a while. And I actually moved to Vietnam 1.5 years ago to live in Saigon and also to reconnect with my roots. And it was a dream to live there. But then I kind of realized that because I was teaching as a German teacher in Vietnam, and I was not very happy with my job. I loved living in Vietnam, but the job was like I liked it, but I didn't love it. And right now, actually, I'm back in Germany visiting my family, my parents, and yeah, just trying to sit in the silence, as you said, and just figuring out what I really want. Because the thing about Vietnam is there's so much to do that sometimes you get distracted and you don't really get to just focus on yourself and just really, yeah, do some thinking and sitting in the silence to find out what you want to do. So what I wanted to ask you is also, I mean, it's a very personal path and journey, but like, how do you find out your purpose? Like, was there like a moment where you were like, okay, this is what I really want to do? Or was it like, I mean, it's a process, but maybe there was like one breaking point where you realized, okay, this is what I want to do.
Can I go?
Mhm.
I have something to answer that question. Yeah. When I decide to quit my corporate job and in the search of my next career, I remember a story that happened to me exactly 30 years before. So I was 46 when I quit my corporate job. And then I remember a story that I I said something I say when I was 16, so exactly 30 years. I told my then teacher when she asked me, what do you want to do when you grow up? The answer blurted out just like that. I say, I wanted to be a doctor who heals people without using medication and needles. At 16, I have not a clue what it meant, okay? And the answer came out before I even had time to react. And at that point in time, like 30 years later, when I remember that story, I remember so vividly as if it happened the day before. And the other thing is, I also remember back then, after I gave that answer, I was thinking I wanted to become a doctor because back then, only doctor heals people. But 30 years later, when I was seeking my second career, I realized what that meant was that I wanted to become a healer because only healer treat people illnesses without using medication and needles like injection. Right? So the answer is basically the answer is within. It may be buried under a tons of layers and fuzziness, but it's there. You just need help to pull it out because, as I say, humans have blind spots and fears cloud the mind and build layers. So one way Hoan did was to settle down and to listen to herself, listen to her fears, listen to the emotions, and listen to her thoughts. I did the exact same thing. for me, it was through sleeping. Seriously, after I quit my corporate job for 3 months, all I did was eat, sleep, do whatever I need to do to take care of my family, and repeat. 3 months. And that's how things emerge for me. So everybody has a different process, right? Based on where we are. My body, because for decades, I stopped it from sleeping. Like for decades, I was sleeping only a few hours a day because I had so much work. And my body claimed that sleep back in 3 months. But during that time, that basically looking back, I just say I eat and sleep. The body processed, and memories that I buried for so long came back and helped me to find my next path. And so I believe for you, it's the same thing. Somewhere underneath, you already have the answers. It just needs to be unburied, to be pulled out. Okay. And there are people who are ready to help you if you are willing to reach out for their hands to guide you, because sometimes the hardest thing is to do all of that clarity work on your own.
Yeah, it's kind of an onion, right? And I mean, I have to say, like, that I'm not at the end of the path of finding out, as I just recently figured out I don't have all the answers to my questions and what would I do like the next 10 years or 5 years, right? I mean, now this is the status quo, like the situation. But actually, like 2 weeks ago, I was kind of heavy on my mind because I also thought like, is it is it just what I'm doing, what I will do the next 5 years? And I mean, I kept on thinking and thinking about it, also, asking myself, reflecting on things. For me, it helped to just get out of my daily life and have this trip, but also think about these questions I told you about before, like, who am I? Where am I right now? Where do I want to go? These are questions I think you will ask yourself again and again and again. And yeah, as I said, I don't have all the answers right now, but I feel like there's also a little change coming soon. So yeah, let's see where it would take me.
Yeah, you're completely right. It's a continuing journey, and one of the skills that we all need to get is the ability to keep moving forward, even when we are unclear, even when things are fuzzy, right? The biggest thing, as Jimmy has mentioned, is have the courage to give it a go, to try, because if you don't try and you look back, you will have the regret to say, I wish I had. Like, don't let yourself get to the point where you say, I wish I had ... Yeah, that's not a pleasant feeling at all. Anyhow, well, on my clock, it's 10 after 10 a.m. and the meeting usually lasts an hour. So I thank you for showing up today, for listening to Hoai Anh's wonderful story. And Hương, not to put you on the spot, but I look forward to hearing your story next month. And once again, thank you all for showing up. It was such a pleasure seeing you all.
Thank you,
Have a
Tina.
great evening.
Thank you
Or
so
day.
much. Thank you, Hoai
Thanks, Hoai
Anh.
Anh.
Thank you. See
Thank
you
you so
soon.
much for sharing. Thank you so much.
Bye.